CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes joins us now. Nancy, President Biden says the U.S., quote, unequivocally condemns the Hamas attacks and remains in close touch with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. What's the latest about what the administration is doing at this point?
Well, what we know, Lilia, is that U.S. military equipment is already en route to Israel. We learned over the weekend that not only would the U.S. be providing Israel with weaponry, with munitions, but also that they would be moving an entire aircraft carrier and other ships into the region. So from the Western Mediterranean, where they were already stationed, to the Eastern Mediterranean, possibly 1,000 miles away, simply to serve as deterrence, because there's obviously this concern now that this could blossom into a wider war in the region, and that is something that they are looking to deter. We also know that the U.S. is providing intelligence assistance, that the U.S. Defense Secretary and Israeli defense officials are in very close touch. And we've been told that there is other unspecified weaponry that is being provided to Israel as well, but we haven't been given more specifics.
I mean, one of the issues that has come up over and over since these attacks happened is how come nobody knew about them? Not Israel, not, U.S. intelligence. Has there been any response from the administration as to where those failures took place in terms of, where the U.S. could have helped?
So far, when asked that question, U.S. officials have pushed back and have said that there will be time for an analysis of how this could have been missed. But for now, they are focused on dealing with the immediate situation, which includes not just an ongoing conflict between the Israelis and Hamas, but also the deaths of at least 9 Americans, we learned this morning, and the possibility that some Americans may be among those who were taken hostage. We don't have numbers yet. We don't have an indication that Americans were among them. But of course, that's a concern when you hear about the dozens and dozens of people who were taken hostage. And so the U.S. is working very closely with the Israelis on that. And for now, U.S. officials are sort of pushing back on any suggestion that they played a role here in missing the signs that Hamas was, working with Iran and others to plan this attack.
And Nancy, of course, as everyone can expect, there's been some political finger-pointing following the attack. New attention's being cast on last month's prisoner swap with Iran.
Right.
The White House has been attacked by Republicans in Congress and those on the campaign trail for the deal, bringing those detainees home. How has the administration responded so far to that?
White House officials pushed back very strenuously over the weekend, and they continue to do so against any suggestion by Republican lawmakers that somehow the deal that they made to bring these U.S. hostages home had anything to do with what we're seeing unfold right now. They say that this was not U.S. taxpayer money that was freed up, that it was money that already belonged to Iran, and that none of it has even been tapped into yet. So they say any suggestion that this money was brought to bear in this conflict is simply irresponsible.
Nancy Cordes, thank you.